Okay, just a quick video for the channel because somebody had emailed me with some questions, and I wanted to show kind of the progress of my friend's truck. So you can see I sandblasted this area here, got all the rust under control, and then painted it with some Valspar tractor paint. Been doing some cleaning, just it's looking pretty presentable. Cleaned the hood, cleaned the fender well areas, got everything back together. So the truck's starting to come along. This particular truck is a 1994, and what that means is the spark plug wires are a little bit out of control. In 1990, as far as I know, the 89 to 93 used kind of conventional, spark plug wires like this. And for whatever reason, in 1994, Toyota changed over to these real thin, kind of crazy wires and a different coil setup. Let me show you over here on my workbench. Garage is a little bit messy, but or I should say my workbench is a little messy here. So this is, for anyone who's interested, this is the tractor paint I used to do the engine compartment. And then you use this hardener. Now this used to be called Valspar, but it was purchased by Krylon, but it's the same paint. Same hardener. This hardener will actually work in the older Valspar stuff. So real nice paint. This is the one we use for his fender well there. And you just mix it up. It's a 16:1 ratio, and it dries like a rock, especially if you put it out in the sun. Now this is what I was referring to here with regard to the coil. So I think I've already thrown the spark plug wires away, but you can see the coil has kind of a different size affair down here. We're switching him over to this guy, and I'll put the links in the description, but this is the 8222 high vibration MSD coil, and you can see I've got an Evil Energy mount, 60 millimeter, that works pretty well. You got to put a little shimming in there because it's not quite the right size, but it gets the job done. I'm going to have to take the igniter off the factory coil here, this top thing, which does the sparking kind of ignition stuff, and I'm going to have to figure out the wires here and splice them over to the terminals, but that won't be the end of the world. And so that's kind of some of the stuff you got to do on the 1994. Now the other thing you got to do here, which is kind of a hassle, is because the 94 uses these little super thin spark plug wires, and you can kind of see the difference here. So here is an 89 to 93 size separator, and then here by comparison is the 1994, and you can see it's just ever so slightly different. I think this is probably 7 millimeters or something, and that's maybe 8 millimeters. Now on the spark plug wires that we're using for his truck are these guys over here, and you may have seen these in my video as well. And this is the specific part number. These are really great wires. They are 8.5 millimeters, and they're just I've mentioned them in some of the other videos. They're just the most kind of phenomenally well engineered wires. Kind of see, really well made. And what I really like about them is this cap that makes a real secure fitment onto the spark plug. It even comes with somewhere in here. Oh yeah, these guys down here. It comes with these little guys and this installation tool, and this is to get these little number tags onto the wires. And I find that really helpful. I like the little look of that. So getting ready to put this on my buddy's truck over here, the 1994 jobby right there. And if we kind of get back to what is required for that is you run into this kind of spark plug wire size separator issue. So now, luckily, our pals over at Yoda Shop still carry these, and you can buy them on the website. That's the part number. And then you got to take, if you're running the 8.5 millimeter, you got to take a little bastard file here, or a rasp, and open these guys up ever so slightly so that you can clip on the spark plug wires. Now, this is the one that goes further down the valve cover. Unfortunately, according to the guy over at Yoda Shop, this one's no longer made. So what I'm going to have to do is take one of these from my buddy here and just kind of grind it off or snip it off or something there to make a little single one. And then if you're wondering where this little metal piece comes from, it actually stems from the original bracket here that holds on all your crazy VSV switches. And you can see I just used a die grinder and cut down, or maybe that was a hacksaw, I can't remember. I think I used a hacksaw. Cut that little tab out and then ground it down on the bench grinder to get that kind of one little single tab deal going. I think it was this one actually. So you can kind of see my work here on the bench grinder to get that little tab free, and then just that's going to get bolted down to the valve cover. I'm going to swap over to the larger size Toyota job here, open it up with the file. Now further down the road on the spark plug wires, we need some separators. On my particular truck, and I'll open it up here so you can kind of see the deal here. Get down in there. On on my particular truck here, switch hands with the camera. Yeah, you're gonna have to excuse the kind of on the fly video here. So on my particular truck, I just had some random spark plug wire separators from, you know, when I was a teenager, so probably 1980 something, floating around. And I just kind of used a mix of those. I don't even know where these came from, but you can see how I have it all laid out. Spark plug wire number 1 loops down underneath, and you can see that little ID tag I mentioned there. These 3 wires snake over this way and get separated here, and then they get, that's the Toyota part number there that I was showing you. And then I don't know where these came from, maybe AutoZone or Napa or something had them laying around. And then 2 right there, and then that little individual job right there for number 4. And then as far as the coil, you can see on the 89 to 93 years, they have this nice bracket, but if you try to find that used on eBay, they want $100 or so for that thing. So that's why we were using that other one, the Evil Energy guy. And then the main coil wire just goes right over here. Now, on the earlier ones, they have this little bracket here to hold that thing. I don't think the 94 has that, but I could be mistaken. In any event, I was able to find excuse me, I was able to find some kind of interesting 3D printed separators from a company called, I think it's called Bad Industries, and I'll put the link to their page on eBay. But these are 3D printed. You can kind of see, and I think these are going to get the job done. Now, you may notice I have 5 on this guy, and that's because I want some space between my wires. So I'm going to do wire number 2, 3, and 4, and then have an air gap in between that. These little guys cost between $6 and $8 for a kit. So that's probably going to be the first separators there, and then we'll kind of pick and choose from these guys as far as the remaining run for the spark plug wires. And then I think that will, and these, by the way, are 8.5 millimeters right out of the gate, so that's kind of nice. You don't have to do any filing like you do on the Toyota job. So anyways, for the person, I think it was Charles, who emailed me today asking kind of, hey, what's up with my spark plug wires on my 94? I told him I'd do a little video, and I thought everybody might kind of be interested in seeing the routine. So if you happen to be either retrofitting your truck with nicer spark plug wires, and or you're dealing with this kind of igniter in the later years that Toyota switched to, and you kind of want to get back to something that will just accept the, you know, more kind of traditional connector. That's kind of gives you a little bit of an overview as far as how to kind of go about, you know, picking out some of these different parts, and you know what are you going to encounter, and then what's going to be required as far as you know, trying to make it look kind of sorted out under the hood there. So, and then this is just a Toyota distributor cap, which I'll put the link. It just came from Amazon. It was about $29, but it's a very high quality Toyota part, and it just bolts right on. And I believe you can use the rotor that was originally on the 94. And then over here, the wiring is pretty much plug and play after you get kind of splicing in that igniter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of the factory holes here, I think, and then probably just drill in a riv nut or something along those lines to hold that little coil and kind of point it the right direction. So anyways, hopefully the video was helpful and answers some questions if you start changing your spark plug wires or coils, or like I say, if you're dealing with that kind of craziness of the 1994 model where they started using those thinner wires. Maybe this video will kind of help people out. So, okay, thanks a lot for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to use the comment section below.